Bang, bang, bang. Trade season finally here. Nuts. I was in class and I got the news. Jaren Jackson Jr. gone. Gone out of there. He's not in Memphis no more. He's a Utah Jazz. Crazy. Um, that's nuts. But it's not the first thing I really wanted to talk about. First thing I really want to talk about was the Chicago Bulls. Man, the Chicago Bulls. I'm going on a little rant real quick. Like, the Chicago Bulls is they're a very long tenured team. And for them to be that long of a team that's been known, that's been in the spotlight, that's been popular, for them to be so bad for so long, um, is crazy. I don't think they've had the best front office, and they've definitely not had the best coaching and everything um, to date. But this trade season, they've really stepped it up a lot. They've gotten rid of players that they need to get rid of. They've picked up second round picks. You know, as off that may seem, it's definitely good. It's definitely good. Um, so yeah, I guess I'll just get into the first, trade, which was kind of like this, like it's not actually the trade, but it was I believe it was a Dario Saric trade. It was the Cavs, Kings, and the Bulls just got in there just to get some the caps, Um, so it was the Kings sending over Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder to the Cavs for DeAndre Hunter, and the Kings send out Dario Saric for nothing and a second round pick, which is crazy because the Bulls kind of are doing a Utah Jazz. That Utah has kind of been able to take in all these picks for the past couple years, just attaching themselves to trades like like a bacteria. Like I give me some second round picks. I'm taking in some cash. I'm taking in some cap space for you guys. Give me some second round picks. Something like that. But I never really expected the Bulls to do that. So when they got Dario Saric in the second, I was like, okay, can't hurt them. Dario Saric is a good player. I wouldn't say the best player. But what I wasn't expecting was the trade today where they send out Dario Saric and Kevin Herter to the Pistons for Mike Conley and Jaden Ivey Mike Conley from Minnesota and Jaden Ivey from Detroit. It was crazy. I was in class when this kind of broke, and I saw it and I thought to myself, no, why? But then I thought more on the way home. It's a really good trade. Like Dario Saric, Bulls legend Dario Saric, Kevin Herter, Bulls legend Kevin Herter, for Jaden Ivey, who's a great I haven't given up on Jaden Ivey yet. Maybe I should, but I haven't yet. But I just think that last year is really unfortunate because he did break his leg, and he hasn't been the best this year because of that injury last year. But other than that, he hasn't been too bad. Like he hasn't been one of those players that you kind of think, oh, he's done for. Oh, he hasn't been like an Anthony Bennett. He is there when you kind of need him. Granted, his stats with and without Cade are really, really atrocious. Stats without Cade, wow, he's like you would think he's the next coming of Patrick Williams, which is which is funny because now he's on the same team as him. Anyways, but yeah, Chicago has a lot of guards, which is something I'm not really surprised about because I remember 2 years ago Chicago was that team who also had a lot of guards, and it was weird to me that they had so many guards. I remember they had like 6 or 7 guards. Last I think it was 2022. And so yeah, it's kind of a Chicago thing. I would assume that they just kind of hold on to one big position, and they just sell out to maybe a team that needs that position filled. So like a Minnesota, maybe they're looking for a Rudy Gobert. Who knows? If they just trade away Vucevic, wow, that could be the next trade. But yeah, like I think that what they have now, Anthony Simons, which I'll get into after. It's Vooch, French, Finney Simons in a second. But they have Anthony Simons, they have Jaden Ivey, they have Mike Conley, they have Tyus Jones, and they have Josh Giddey. That is 5. They have someone else, though. I can't remember their name. For some reason, it's my 3rd time recording this video, and I haven't searched up his name. Regardless, though, I'll say they have 5. They have 5 point guards, or guards in general, and I can already tell who they're going to get rid of. I don't think they're going to get rid of Mike Conley. There's no way they do. He's already old, and no one's really going to pay too much for him. They won't get rid of Jaden Ivey because he's a young player. Like, he's 22, and he still has a lot of potential, and Mike Conley can give that potential to Jaden Ivey. He can show him the ropes. He can show him how to kind of be a better guard. They might not trade Josh Giddey. They should, probably. But they're definitely going to get rid of... They're most likely going to get rid of Josh Giddey and Patrick Williams. Because... I don't... Like I don't even have to say anything. You know why they're going to get rid of Patrick Williams. But they'd probably get rid of Josh Giddey for maybe a Rudy Gobert. Maybe a Julius Randle. You know, Minnesota needs, you know, that kind of that guard play, and they just got rid of Mike Conley. Shout out to like that that jersey, Dante DiVincenzo jersey. You know, shout out to Dante. He's a great guard, but he's just not the guard Minnesota needs right now. I really, really don't think so. They also have Rob Dillingham. That's all I'm gonna say. They have Rob Dillingham. He's not too amazing. He's like a twig. Anyways, yeah, you know, like, it's interesting, but this trade deadline has been amazing so far. Like, the next thing I actually want to get into is Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Utah Jazz for Walton Clayton Jr., Taylor Hendricks, and Kyle Anderson, and I believe 3 firsts, not Utah first. The first, I think it's the 2026 Utah first, and it's I believe top 10 protected. I believe it's a swap with the Knicks, or it could be Washington swap. Anyways, I won't say anything more. But regardless, though, they sent away some picks. The picks are not even the most important thing. The picks are not that good, actually. They're just swaps, I believe, and they're from other teams, like from New York and from some other place too. Anyways, Jaren Jackson Jr. was salary dumped to the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz have been secretly building an amazing team. Like, Lauri Markkanen hasn't been... He should have been an all-star this year. I'm actually mad about that. But Lauri Markkanen has been slowly building up his repertoire, you know, with a spin move, with his 3, with the, you know, his post bag is crazy. It's nuts. And Keontae George has taken that leap. I'm not gonna say he took on a step, but he took a leap to being the guard that he is today. Last year, I don't know what he was averaging because I wasn't watching that damn team, but he wasn't as good as he is this year. I watched the Utah Jazz here and there last year, but obviously, you know, just for fun. But this year, I'm watching them not only because they're on my fantasy team, Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen, but because they're a good team. I really think they're not going to make the play-in this year. They couldn't if they really tried. But next year, with Walker Kessler back, Jaren Jackson Jr. being there, Ace Bailey taking a step, which I haven't even talked about Ace Bailey yet. Wow. Keontae George taking another step most likely, and Lauri Markkanen keeping the same form as this year, maybe. That is not just play-in basketball, but that's playoff basketball that they're going to be playing. Like, it's crazy. But, that's enough about Utah. Memphis. Wow. Memphis, they've kind of been building, they've kind of like turned themselves into Utah, you know, building up all these picks. Because from the past couple of years, we've seen Utah attach themselves to every single trade that's been on the market. You know, they've attached themselves to, I can't even remember, but the Jimmy Butler and the Andrew Wiggins trade, for example. They got Kyle Anderson and a 2nd round pick. What? It was nuts. I really didn't. I saw that and I was kind of surprised. But they've been attaching themselves to every single trade just to kind of build up a repertoire of 2nd round picks. to just send out, or first round picks just to send out, because they're a team that obviously is really bad and they need picks. You know, they want to take their chance in the lottery. Um, and it's the teams that are sending out those picks that are like, we're good. We don't need these picks. So yeah, it's just something that it's interesting to me to see now where Memphis is going. Um, you wonder now who's the face of Memphis. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. is gone, and John Morant is gonna be gone, most likely, to probably like Minnesota or maybe to the Clippers. Just saying. But I think at this point, it's safe to say Cedric Howard is definitely the face of Memphis. He's a rookie, and he's been playing out of his mind. He had that stretch at the start of the year where it was nuts. I really thought he was Michael Jordan. Wow, but he's definitely a rookie that you can kind of tell he's gonna take a leap next year. He's gonna be really good. Um, Maybe it's Zach Edey. Maybe I wouldn't say so though. I don't think Zach Edey is there to be. I don't think he's there for long. I really think Memphis is just ripping up the roots. They're gonna start fresh. Um, wow, yeah, they're probably gonna trade John Morant to the Heat or to Minnesota or to whoever, and it's gonna be something. Um, but yeah, I have loved this trade deadline so far because we didn't really like. Obviously, we kind of heard Jaren Jackson Jr. talks for a while now, but nothing's really happened. But they haven't been like forefront. They haven't really ever said like, yeah, we are gonna trade Jaren Jackson Jr. or yeah, we're gonna trade da 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 this person, that person. And the Bulls especially, no one at all was thinking the Bulls were gonna trade someone or they were even gonna get into trade talks. Never. I really didn't think so. I thought there was gonna be another year that the Bulls were gonna be that one team that you're kind of disappointed in. That like, oh, you kind of need somebody. Why didn't you do anything? But they are going to this year. I know for a fact they're going to. They're gonna like if I were to make a prediction, they're gonna trade Josh Giddey and Patrick Williams for Rudy Gobert and probably Rob Dillingham, and so they can start building a young team under kind of the supervision of Mike Conley and who else. But um, it's also something to talk about there that I didn't talk about was Boston. Boston being what the first seed in the East is nuts. Like they don't have Jason Tatum, and they don't have a real center. Sorry, they do have a real center, Nemez Keita. Shout out to you, but they have Vucevic now. Granted, Vuce doesn't play much defense. He gets boards and he gets points. That's all you need. And with Jaylen Brown being kind of, no offense to Boston now, the only person on that Boston team who has a sense of how the game of basketball works, he needs Vucevic. He needs him more than ever. And so it's just kind of something that it's interesting to me to see where they're gonna be now, because I really think Boston now could win the championship. Not saying Vucevic is their key missing piece, but I really think that the center position was kind of holding them back a bit. Jaylen Brown has shown over time that he can be that person who steps up. Um, time after time, Peyton Pritchard has shown up. Derek White has shown up. Who's playing the four? I couldn't tell you. I don't watch Boston. But nonetheless, they could win the ring this year. They could be a dark horse. So I'm just saying, watch out. Who else? Kings? Nothing to say about them. They're still shit. Pardon my language, but sorry, Kings. Gotta do better. But yeah, one last thing I really want to say is that we need to stop with all like the rumors. Like I don't want to keep hearing Giannis rumors or like James Harden rumors that are just starting now, which are probably gonna come to fruition. Which James Harden's probably gonna land somewhere like maybe like a Minnesota, or now I was gonna say New York. I wish as a Knicks fan I want him to land in New York, but nonetheless, or Toronto. Toronto's been in the trade talks for a while, but what I'm saying is that there's always these trade talks around, Anthony Davis or Giannis, or whoever it may be, these superstars, that it's just time and time again, year after year, it's always those trades. It's like, oh, where is he going to land this year? Is he going to be traded at the deadline? Yes, he is. Yes, he's no, he's not. It kind of makes the NBA into a game of like he said, she said, and it's annoying, and I definitely think that's a big reason why people don't really watch the NBA anymore. But that's a rant for another time. Wow. Yeah, you know, the trade deadline this year has not disappointed. Sham said last year would be the craziest trade deadline. Wrong. This year is. So yeah, that's really all I want to talk about. Peace.